Hello everyone, this is Jasmine and welcome to my channel. This is part 2 of our ASP.NET MVC core web application. So here we will create our details page. So first we will start with the controller. Let's create the details function, async task iAction result details So detail is basically going to show the detail of a user. So we will always need an ID. Why is this giving me error? Okay, so it's because we have not written await yet. So first we need to check if ID is equal to x null, then return not found, where user is equal to await context dot. So context is basically our database from which the user's details are going to come. M search that m dot ID is equal to if our user is equal to null, then return not found, else it will return the view with the user. So this is a get method and its URL will be users details ID. Now let's create view for this action method. So first we will create our model. Since here we just want one record from the database, so we are not going to use IEnumerable. We will directly call our users model. So to speed things up, I have copy pasted the code. So here I have used a data list. So in the data list, this is the name, this is the heading, the name, email address. So when you write @HTML.displayName for, it's going to display the title. So here it will be displayed name, and when you write display for, it will give you the name of that user. So the same way it will display email address, and here it will give you the email address of the user. And at the bottom there is an action method for edit and index. This is like a hyperlink. So here you write ASP route ID. This wills the ID. So in this way you can pass the ID of this particular user to this action method. Now let's create the create page, public action will be create. It's just going to return view. This is a get method. This will basically give us a form to enter the data. Let's create a view for this page. So this is our create view. Again, I have copy pasted the code. This is because it's just an HTML code. So we don't need to type it everything. We can use the code which is already there. So this is a form which is, so this is basically a form with a post method. So here we are calling the action create. So we will write the code for the post method and the name of the action will be create. This is the validations. These validations are called because we when we created the model, we had written some constraints. So they will follow it. Now, as you can see, the label and the input has the tag ASP for name. This means it is going to bind to that particular column. So the label is going to print the name, and this is an input text box which is going to where we will write the name and it will be bind to that particular column. The same goes for the email, password, phone number. And here is a submit button, and when we go back to the list, it's going to redirect us to the index page. Here we call this render partial async. So this page is already there in our shared folder. Basically it has this jQuery scripts. So when we are creating a form, we call this page so that it will call the validations, all the validations which are there in that page. So let's create the post method which will look like this: users/create. Whenever we write post method, we need to prefix it with HTTP post. Validate anti-forgery token, public async task, action result, create. So we are overloading, we are doing function overloading. Here we will pass all the ID, all the column names, name, email, password, phone number is active. So basically we are passing all the column names, all the names which we need to insert it in the database. And this belongs to the user. We are getting this error. Okay. If model state so first we need to write all the conditions. We need to first check that whatever data is coming from the page, whether it is appropriate or not, whether it is following the proper validations which we have given. So it checks in this model state. user dot is active is equal to true. Underscore context dot add user This tells the framework to add your user object into the database. Await underscore context dot save sync. This tells your framework to save any changes made to the database. Once it's done, we return redirect to action, name of index. Lastly, in your return statement, you are redirecting it to the index. So if return view user, so it will be redirected to the index if the modal state is valid, but if it's invalid, it will return the view, simply the same page. I forgot to explain about validate anti-forgery. So this is used to stop the cross-site request forgery attacks. It is basically used to prevent harmful scripts, malicious commands, or it prevents code from being sent from the browser to a user. Now this should always be used when we are creating, editing, or deleting the data. Let's execute this code. Now in users, let's enter the database. Phone number 1 2. So here you can see a record is created in the database. If we go to details, we'll get the data, back to the list, and here it is. So we need to write code for edit and delete. Now edit is also a post method, but the first is there will be two edit methods. So the first will be the get method. So this is also overloaded. So it will look like this: users edit ID. Now let's write code for it. Public async task result edit. Here we need to pass the ID. So here basically this question mark is, if it's null, it will still not give the error, but generally the ID, we need to always pass the ID so that the record is being displayed. So first let's write the condition is equal to null, then return not found, where user is equal to await, we need context dot users dot find. We need to find the data by ID. If user is equal to null, then return. And in the last, return the view. Let's create view for this edit page. Add view, should be empty. Edit. So again, to speed things up, I'm copy pasting the edit page. So since we are just going to pass one user details, we don't need to use I enumerable, and this is similar to the create page. So with the input name, email address, password, phone number, and there are some form validations. So we have already declared it when we were creating the models. So all the conditions it's going to take up from there, and here is a submit button. Now we need to create the save. So let's run this page and see how it looks. Go to users, edit. So this is how our edit page looks. This is a get method. So we need to write code for the save button. That will be the post method. Let's go to the controllers. So this is our post event. It will look like post users edit ID. Let's create function for it. We'll start with validate anti-forgery token. I have already explained it when I was doing the create. Async task. I action result. Edit int ID, and then we need to bind our model. So ID, name, email, password, phone number is active. In short, we need to pass all the variables which we need to, all the column names which we need to edit, and the model name. Users, user. This is one way of passing the model. There is one more way to do it by using repositories. I will cover that in my later videos. ID is not equal to user dot, then return not found. Model state dot is valid. This is a very important condition. Basically, before passing the model to the controller, it checks whether all the conditions are met. It's valid or not. If it's not valid, then it will raise an error here itself. Try context dot update user. This will update the database. Wait. Context dot save changes. it's a type of exception that will be raised if not user exists user ID. So this is basically a function which we need to write. Let's declare it over here. Private pool user exists. This is going to check whether the ID which we are passing is there in the database or not. So if it does not exist, return not found. So here if our modal state is valid, and so we will return redirect to action name of index. So here if it's successful, it's going to return to the index page. Else if anywhere it breaks, it will return to the view user. Now we need to edit our view. We need to add the action method. So this is going to call our edit controller. The edit method which it is going to call will be the post one. So since we are going to submit the button, so it will call this edit, the post, not the get. Let's execute this code. Go to users, edit. Since password is, the type is password, it's not getting displayed. Save, and here it is, it's getting saved. So our project is running fine. We will create the function to write delete in our next video. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.